many times have you said yes when you really meant to say no? How many times have you told people what you thought they wanted to hear versus what you really felt in your heart and in your mind? How many times have you left a meeting kicking yourself thinking, why didn't I just say how I really felt? You are listening or watching the People Skills Advantage podcast brought to you by the Bonita Owens Network. And I'm Bonita Owens. And today we're going to talk about saying no and setting boundaries and how it affects your life and your leadership when you keep your no's on the inside and all your yeses on the outside. So whether you're a leader or not, this is going to be really relevant to you, okay? Because from a personal development standpoint, I see this so much. I see this so much in people when it comes to setting boundaries and saying no. And when you are a leader of a team and you're doing this, oh my gosh, it's exponentially has more of a negative impact. It's one thing when it's just you not setting boundaries. It's another animal when you don't set boundaries and it affects other people. I have learned this really from a personal and a professional standpoint. I am a recovered people pleaser, and I remember really not wanting to disappoint people and feeling like there was a right or wrong answer to things, right? Based on you asked me something, So I said, we're not dealing with this any longer. You're going to go back and you're going to tell her that you don't want to do it. And I was so nervous, but I knew in my heart of hearts it's something that I had to do. Like I had to, because if I didn't, I was going to continue this pattern. And I was at the point in my life where it was time for me to break this pattern. And so I realized that there's a difference between being a team player and a people pleaser, right? When you are a people pleaser, there are some things, it costs you some things. It costs you your credibility. It costs you respect. It costs you peace. I know it did for me, because if people see you wishy-washy, now granted, in that respect, it was just me. Nobody would have had to know. But you know what? The most important person knew me. I knew. And that inner conflict that happens when you say things that you don't mean, your brain keeps the score. Your body keeps the score. So in order to be congruent with who you really are, it's important to set those boundaries. And how you feel about yourself, the respect you have for you. We're conditioned to have respect for lots of people. And the person you're with every day is you. And so it erodes your own sense of respect. And the peace, right? It's like being able to say and be honest and say what you really feel is powerful. So I decided at that moment I was not going to do that again. And the shift changed my life. It truly changed my life, because I felt even in that moment, I got my power back. There's a time in our lives, and maybe multiple times, where we give our power away, or maybe our power was taken away from us, right? Maybe your power was taken away. And this is the thing. This is not a beat you up type conversation. This is really about your awareness and how do you shift out of that. So I want to give you some tips here. Number one, get clear on your truth, okay? Be okay with the pause. Be okay with not giving and this is what I help my clients with. Be okay with not giving a response right away. If you need some space between you and the response and the person, say, I'll get back to you. Let me think about it and get back to you. That pause, even in the moment pause, or I'll get back to you pause, is golden. And the reason why it's golden is because it gives you space to really ask yourself some powerful questions, right? What is your gut telling you? What do you really want to be doing? How much will it take away from the things that you know that you want to be doing? And sometimes you can even write those things down and go through those questions and question yourself, right? and give yourself that permission to have the pregnant pause, okay? Number 2, separate kindness from people pleasing. Some of us think or have been taught, right? You might have been taught that people pleasing or doing what people want you to do is kind, and not doing what other people want you to do is unkind. And that is not true. That is furthest from the truth. But that's the way some of us have been conditioned. Remember when you were young, share, right? We make kids share. Now, is sharing a good thing? Of course it is. But the way we make kids share all the time, it starts to we start to be conditioned then. It's not about what I want to do, it's about what other people want me to do. And I share this in my talk, and I've shared it. I shared it in my chapter of my book about Power of No as well. Is that from a young age, we start to condition kids, right? And this is another thing that we do. There might be even grandma, a family friend, and that family friend wants a hug, or family member wants a hug, right? Wants to hug you as a child, or, hug a child. Let's put you in this, right? Think of a time, and it might not have happened to you, but it's happened to many of us, where an adult wanted to hug you and they had your family's trust and you didn't want to hug them. But the adult would say, oh, hug Uncle Leroy, or hug, Mr. Brown or Mrs. Brown. They love you. Like all the things. So we learn at a young age, do what other people want us to do and not what we want to do, because that's what kindness is. Okay. But what if you can start to unlearn that and learn that there's a difference between kindness and people pleasing. And true kindness is clear. Now, what I haven't shared with you yet is that I love Brene Brown. Okay. Brene Brown can do no wrong in my book. Okay. And one of her statements, right, is clear is kind. One of her quotes that I quote a lot is clear is kind, and unclear is unkind. So really, what we think is being clear, what you think is being kind by not really being truthful is actually unkind. And when you can be clear with yourself and clear with other people, that is kindness, because they know where you stand. And more importantly, you have been able to express where you stand. All right. Well, this is a good one. And this might hurt a little. Practice coming back. Practice changing your mind. I had to change my mind. I keep putting my hand on my mic. I had to change my mind. I had to go back and redo. And what I always say, if you can change your underwear, you can change your mind. You know how so many people say, oh, I've already told them. I already told them yes. Okay. Go back and say no. You changed your mind. And you're not going to want to do that, because you're a person of your word. I know some of you, okay? You're a person of your word. You do that enough, you won't do it, okay? But be okay with changing your mind and saying, you know what? I need to come back to something that I told you. I told you I was going to be able to do this because I really did want to do it for you. However, after thinking a little bit further, I don't think it's the best time, right? Whatever that is for you. And I went back and I had to do that with this person and tell them, I know I told you yes, but no. And guess what happened? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. What we make up in our minds is so much bigger than reality. And number 4, say no with clarity and not apology. No is a complete sentence. And granted, I normally give people, we won't go into it this episode, but give people some ways to say no, because sometimes it's not appropriate to just say no, period, right? However, what I want to discourage you from doing is apologizing about your no, because again, it's you thinking it's unkind. And because you want people to see you as being kind, then you go out of your way to apologize it away. Don't do that. And this may take some practice for you thinking, right? I want to encourage you not to do that. And you may need to get your words in order, right? And to say, hey, this is just not a good time for me. But you don't have to apologize. You don't have to, well, I would have done it, but, I really wanted to I'm so sorry. And we as women, oh my gosh, we say sorry for everything. Somebody bumps into you and you say you're sorry, right? And so it's like, it's okay. And number 5 is to build your muscle. This is a muscle. Saying no, setting boundaries is a muscle. And especially if you didn't grow up having the power to say no, you grew up seeing people in your life not saying no, it's uncomfortable. It's a muscle and it's for you to continue, right? And so I'm going to give you a little challenge. Little challenge is to think about one thing that you said yes to and you really want to say no. You wanted to say no in the moment, or sometimes that no is delayed. Sometimes after you walk away or the next or before you go to bed at night, you're thinking, the heck was I thinking? Right? I want you to go back to that person and revisit. That's your challenge for this week. And let me know if you did it. Let me know when you did it, not if, when, because I believe in you. Let me know when you did it and send me an email. I want to know that you did it and what happened and how you felt doing it. All right. So I'm going to go over the steps again. Okay. How to lead authentically and set boundaries. 1, get clear on your truth. Okay. 2, separate kindness from people pleasing. Number 3, practice the redo. Practice coming back and saying, sorry, I told you yes, but I meant no. 4, say no with clarity, not apology. All right. We're not apologizing for our no. And be willing to build that authenticity muscle. It takes practice to learn a new habit. And be patient with yourself and be patient with the process. Thank you so much for joining me again. I always ask to do a couple of things. 1, if this has been valuable for you, I want to ask you to hit the subscribe button so that you will know when we are coming, when new episodes are being dropped. Share this with somebody you really care about or that you think is on a journey of their own. And reach out to me. Let me know if you did a redo this week or any thoughts that you have on what I shared today. And if you have any ideas of things that you want me to talk about, I'd love to hear from you. Bonita at bonitaowens.com. Bonita at bonitaowens.com. I'll put the information in the show notes. I look forward to talking to you again next week. Remember, life is work, work is life. Let's make both better. Talk to you soon.